that you watch my live and upgrade your nothing can do. Yeah. Hello guys. So this is SwissCJ-Fx. So today I'm going to show you the directional bias for the week for the following pairs, that is gold, GBPUSD, GBPJPY, USDJPY, and USOIL. So I believe that if you watch to the very end, you are going to understand how I place my trade, and the best trade are the trades that have this picture, which number one is easy and secondly requires more patience. So one of the ways to know that your strategy is actually a good one is that your strategy is not something that you see all the time. You see it once in a while. You don't see it, like for instance, you can come in a week and throughout that week you didn't see any setup. So it doesn't mean that you're a bad trader. It just shows that you have very good patience, and I can assure you that with such patience you're always going to win, because forex trading actually rewards those that are patient. It doesn't reward those that every time they are always acting, they are always, you know. So forex trading always rewards those that are patient. If you have a kind of setup that all the time you are always having one setup or the other, you find out that you are always going to blow your account. But when you have a kind of setup that you don't see it all the time, but when you see it and when you see the setup, you know that this is actually going to work. Even though it takes you 1 week for it to form, then you know that you're actually on the right track. Alright, so I want to show you the directional bias of the week and what we're actually expecting with the following pairs. So I'm going to start with gold, that is XAUUSD. I actually like this pair because it's very volatile. Puts more money and it actually flies, but you need to be very very technical concerning it. Right? You need to be very very technical concerning gold. So right now, the first requirement to know your directional bias is you must always start from the higher time frame. Right? That is the first thing that you must do. So that is the first thing you must do as a profitable trader or a trader that is aspiring to be a profitable one is that your directional bars must be at your forefront. That should be the first thing that you should think of when you talk about trading. You need to, like for instance, you be like, for the week, where is the market actually going to? And you align yourself to that pattern, right? So you don't just, and it's always advisable that for a week stick to one pair, right? Stick to one pair. Don't just jump from one pair to the other. Because when you stick, for instance, if I know that for the week gold is actually going to buy throughout that week, it's preferable that I just stick to that gold and just keep on buying, because you will be on the right track rather than you trade gold today, tomorrow you're going to trade GBPUSD, next tomorrow you're going to trade. So it's always good, just as much as possible for the week, find out the directional bars for the week and just stick to it. Just keep buying or selling according to that line. So right now, when we look at, this is the higher time frame for gold. This is 4 hours time frame. So we can go as far as daily, how will I call it, as a day trader, right? So I actually, in my own strategy, I always use, there are two types of um blocks where you place, so like what they call the order block and what they call the breaker block, right? So the order block is, mostly found at the swing, while the breaker block is the one that actually broke, is a previous swing that is now going back to return to it. So right now, if you look at this, you will find out that gold is reacting to this order block here, is reacting from the daily time frame. So from this daily time frame, we see that gold is actually on the buy. So we are going to be sure that gold is going to be on the buy until it actually clears this this um this liquidity up here. So until gold comes here and clears this from this region, clear this place, then that's when we will now know, okay, for now we are satisfied for gold buying. But until then, after gold clears it, then we wait for further confirmation. Alright, so definitely in gold, we actually buy from the daily time. Then we go to the 4 hours time frame, so you can actually see it. Now gold is actually, so it hasn't come to react at this um breaker block, right? So for instance, this is, where's that block? So this is the breaker block. Right, so this is the breaker block. So from the 4 hours time frame, I've seen that gold has not yet touched this level. Alright, so even though, well, this is the 4 hours time frame, so but definitely we know that gold is actually buying, but we need to be sure. So we have to be very patient. So let's go to the 1 hour time frame. Okay, so looking at this at the 1 hour time frame, right, we are seeing that at this level, so this is still breakable. See, gold has not touched this place. So it's advisable that you do not place a buy yet. Right? It's advisable you don't place a buy yet. As long as and that's one thing about forex trading, is that you don't, how will I put it now? You don't chase setups. If it resembles your setup, you understand? It resembles your setup, but as far as not your setup, you must make sure that it's 100%, because the market has so many setups. Because there are some people, this is their setup. Like You understand? Some people this is their setup here. Some people this is their setup. Some people this is their setup. Market has various setups. So your work as a forex trader is to look for a setup that you know that happens once in a while. But whenever it happens, you know, it's going it's like a sure banker. You know, okay, this is certainly going to happen. So what we're actually looking out for is this is price actually reacting from this point. Right? We're looking for price reacting from this point here. So price will actually down, come down to this point, then finally break up. So at this point, I will not advise you for you to start selling, right? Because we are the buying buyer, so it's always good to stick to your plan, no matter how you look at it, right? So even though price eventually breaks through this place, so even though price finally, for instance, price break through this from this level and it finally breaks through, you know, okay, let me zoom out a little. Okay, so for instance, price now finally breaks through this point. So we must make sure that before we do anything, price actually returns back to this level, then finally it now go up, so it's just like that. So that is actually the my directional bias for gold. So we're actually on the buy side, but it's how is it actually going to buy is what we're actually looking out for. So you do not force trade to happen. If it does not come to your level, make sure you do not press the buy button. If price doesn't come to touch this breaker block level, don't even bother pressing your buy button. Don't chase trade. I know many of us will say, okay, that since this is the week, so price actually was, but from from experience, I discovered that price always react at the body level and not at the weak level. When price comes back to this body level, that it finally moves and clears out this liquidity. So actually, from experience, we're expecting price to come down here and finally now take off. So right now, you know, anything that has to do with gold, you might have to be patient and wait. If you are impatient and decide to sell from here, that's your own cup of tea, because you are actually on a more risk you are actually on the risky side trying to sell from here because it can break up. But one thing is certain, that we are actually on the buy side. So it's better. So even though you want to sell from here, you want to make sure a very serious confirmation happens. That you will see that price has actually rejected and is having a what they call it, a market structure shift. When you see that, then okay, you can now start selling. But I will never advise, as long as your bias is buy, do not sell. Make sure that you are sticking to your plans. Right. So let us check what is the long position. So okay, it's actually working. So it's not showing. Let's refresh it first. Let's see. Okay, so some features didn't even load initially. So Okay, so this is it. So let's see the risk to reward. So if I go to take this trade, you can see that this is a 1:5. So I mean, it's not worth the patient. 1:5 risk to reward. So it's actually worth it. So it's better just wait for it to finally come down. And when it actually does, you take your trade from here. But if price finally breaks here, right, then you are likely to take your trade from this level. But for now, I will not recommend for you to please take any trade for now. Not recommend to take any trade for now. And I will not recommend you to take any trade. So because it has not come to that level. So this is the directional bias and how to enter for gold. And so the next pair I will tell look out is GBPUSD. So let me check that one out. Okay. Okay, so looking at this here, we'll go to the higher time frame. Let's just see. Okay, so looking at it. So we're seeing that from the higher time frame, price has actually reacted from this other block, or from this breaker block, sorry. So this is the breaker block. So I see that price actually reacted from this point, is moving up. So until price comes to clear out this liquidity here, right, we will know that we will keep looking for buys as much as we can, right? So including this place also, seeing that price hasn't come to this point here. So this is actually daily time frame anyways. This is daily time frame. And so looking at this, okay. So looking at this, we're seeing that price actually on the upside. Price actually on the upside. So on the 4 hours, then on the 2. So price actually on the upside. Price actually on the upside. So price GBP USD is actually buying. GPU. So another reason why I believe GPU is that if you look, there is a kind of pressure at this at this liquidity level. So we are seeing that price will actually shoot up and finally keep on going until it finally clears out this liquidity here. So until price finally clear out this liquidity here. So from this, so now price is actually going to come here. So but at this level, I'm not recommending for you to enter at this level. Right? So if you want to enter this kind of trade, you need to be patient. So it's either price will actually, maybe shoot out, right? Kind of fun and then pattern, then maybe come down to this level before finally going up. Or price will actually come down to this level, right? Before it now finally goes up. Before it finally goes up. So you must make sure for one thing that this is where your eyes is in. Like let price be showing how it's buying, no, that's none of your business. your trading must be either from an order block or from a breaker block. And so that is the rule of the game. So this is a breaker block also. So you are already placing your trade from these levels. For now, it has actually gone so, except when you are ready to, put your, for instance, now maybe something that are impatient, you are ready to go this one, you put your trade there, then you now put your stop loss maybe here and your TP here. If you are ready to do that, fine, no problem. But one thing about trading that there's so much risk in the game, so it's always good to, as much as possible, eliminate as many risks as you can, because in forex trading is more of like the principle that they call that say seek you first the kingdom of God as righteous, that every other thing shall be added unto you. What that means that if you are chasing the wrong things, you're actually going to blow up your account. But when you focus on the right things and just sit there, every other thing you're looking for in the forex trading will actually come your way very easy. So just be patient. I believe that price will actually it will still go up, right? So I believe that price, that this is what is going to happen. Price will then fall back to this place, then to now finally go up, right? Or price will clear out this place. So if eventually clears out, you fine. The next thing we look out for is this other block here. But for my own, from previous view, market will go like this, come here, then finally it will actually go up. So we're actually on the, so according to directional bias, we're actually buying. So until it clears out this level, we will not stop looking for buys. And so price must first clear out this level before we're not okay. Now this is time for us to be satisfied. But as long as we are seeing that, so the game is this. I will never recommend for you to trade this retracement, unless you've seen a very good market structure shift. So if you've not seen a good market structure shift, then I'll never recommend for you to actually sell. So always stick to the plan. Never try to chase price. Be as calm as possible. You know, and again, don't allow forex trading to be your world. Find other things to be doing, so that even though price doesn't come to your level, right? You have other things that you are doing until you find out that price actually comes. So it's not a game of do or die. It's not a game of trying to be as correct as possible. You need to just find levels that the probability of it going there is very high, and levels that the probability of it retracing from that level and going to your direction is also very high. And those kind of levels are levels that do not occur all the time, but whenever it occurs, it's always it's always on the top notch. So that's what you actually focus on. So if you look at it, we're actually on the buy. When you look at the risk to reward from this level, so this is like a 1:6 risk to reward. It's what is what the patience, right? So this is a 1:6 on the daily time frame, right? So though it may actually take time, right? So but if you go down to as low as 1 hour, alright, you go down, so you find out that is actually a lot. It's actually going to be, you know, as maybe 1:10 or so. So but from the 4 hours time frame, it's actually one. So that is actually the directional bias for it. So we are not trading until price comes to this level. If price doesn't come to this level, we are not even bothered. We're not going to go towards that level. So then the next one that we actually look into is the GBPJPY. So we are actually going to look at this pair. Okay, so go to the daily time frame. So looking at what we are seeing here, we are seeing that price actually reacted from this other block, from this breaker block, sorry. And so we're anticipating that price actually going strong on the upside. So that is actually what we are actually anticipating. But as I've said, whenever okay, so this is so if price breaks this level, if price finally breaks this level, I will not recommend you to trade a buy setup anymore. Never recommend to trade a buy setup. You must wait. So when price finally break this for instance, price break this point, we are expecting price to come and do something like this, then finally come back this point, then finally it now goes up. It now goes up to the so if price doesn't do something like this, do not place your trade at all. So at this level, don't be tempted to start buying. I you know when I was still new in this forex business, if I see this a man is buying, so don't be tempted. Right? It doesn't mean that it's buying. You can actually retrace from there and start selling. But from look of things, this is actually a good setup for a buy. So, but definitely we have to be very patient, right? So this is actually a 4 hours time. We have to be very, very patient and wait for it. But on a general, we are actually on a buy. But as a forex trader, you are going to okay, just imagine how many days you have to wait for price to come back to this level. So that is one thing about one being a forex trader. You are very patient and you need to wait. So this is what I'm actually anticipating, hoping that when price finally returns back to this level, then we'll keep on buying. So so as I always say, trading a retracement is dangerous. Do not do that except you've seen a correct and a good market structure shift. If you've not seen any good market structure shift, do not sell, right? Always wait for it to come back to this level. So you must discipline yourself in a way that you have levels where you buy from, you have levels where you sell from. And if you do not see those levels, you are not going to act at all on the market. And so that's what I'm actually um just like show you that. So this is the directional bias for GPU, GBPJPY, and from the 4 hours time frame, if we are to take our trades from the 4 hours time frame, you actually see that you actually see that this is actually for the directional bias, this is actually 1:5. So the patience is actually worth it. The more patient you are and calm towards a setup, the more you actually pack the money from the forex market. But the more you are trying to I want to gather everything, right? That is when you start losing a whole lot of deals in the forex market. So that is my directional bias for GBPJPY. Then the next one I actually focus on right now is USDJPY. USDJPY. I like this pair because in most cases it always does the opposite of what um it always does the opposite of what pairs like GBPUSD or EURUSD does. For instance, I think this is actually my directional bias of last week. If you look at it, I actually drew this other block here, or sorry, this breakout block here. I actually drew it knowing that price will actually come back to this level and finally sell. So if you look at it, price actually came that time. I think price was just here. Till then, price was just around this corner here. So I knew that price actually come enter this level, then finally sell. I can see that what actually happened. So we are still actually selling. Price is still on the downside, it has not even stopped. So so that is it for the 4 hours. So if you want to enter at this level, You can actually enter your sales. You can actually enter your sales now, but I will not advise you to enter your sales now. Instead, you need to wait for a market structure shift confirmation, which goes something like this. Maybe from this level, price will come, right? Then finally returns back, then now start selling. So at this point is where you will now put your sell side. So at this point, then you can now draw it like this. You can now draw it like that, then you now go sell down. So you can actually sell down, you know. And so this is 1:5. So this 1:5 risk to reward ratio. So you must make sure that a market structure shift actually happens before you start selling. So this is actually on the sell, where I believe we're on the sell side. So, and from this level, you see that price actually breaks this swing low and finally returns back to start selling, then this way will not enter. But from here, I will not recommend you to start selling, right? You need to break this level, this swing low. Price needs to break it first, right? This swing low, so price needs to break it. It needs to behave something like this for me to break this level. Then finally now come back here. And so when you now start selling, you will now start. So this is where your sales will now start from. When it finally does this, right? So you just be patient. But this is actually on the sell side, right? So and this is 1:5 risk to reward. So the very smooth one. So this was one I actually did last week, and you can see that we are actually on the sell side. So just hold on, and you see that price actually come and clear this entire liquidity. So for is about patience. Do not rush the process, and everything will actually work out so smoothly. And then the final one is US oil. So US oil is actually going to be the last one that we'll actually find the directional buyers for. Okay, this one actually hit our stop loss. Okay, so this actually hit our stop loss. So okay, then so looking at this, you can see that price actually reacted from this other block here, from this breakout block here. So and you can see that price actually on the upside, and so from all indications, okay, so let me look at it properly. So price reacted from this point as well. And since it's creating, so it has been creating higher highs. Okay, let me go to the higher time frame first and be sure what's happening. Okay, so if we're looking at this, you can see that price is actually on the upside. Price is actually on the upside. Um, let me be sure. Let me be sure. Let me be sure. Let me be sure. Okay. Okay, so it's reacting from this point and it's actually moving up. So irrespective of anything, so I believe the price is actually on the upside. So price actually on the upside, but this is where we're actually believing that price will actually reach using the directional buyers. So on the 4 hours, this is 45. Okay, so you can see that price actually went up, but so we have to wait for price of it. So if you know where to buy, we'll make sure that price comes to at this level. Right, so when market finally comes down to this level, right, so wait for a market structure shift. Then when that happens, then we'll now keep on buying. So if you are patient enough, you can wait for price to come and clear this level, this whole level here. So until price comes and clear this level, right? But I always recommend just take your trade here and allow it to actually drop. So that's actually what I'm actually seeing. Price may eventually come back here and maybe it may actually reverse and finally drop. So and if you look at our trade here, so this is 1:3 from the 45 minutes time frame. All right. So this is my directional bars for the week. So if you have any issues or you have any problem with what I've said, or if you like this video, right, I would like you to leave a comment down below and tell me what you find wrong, whatever I said, or tell me what you actually love, what you actually love on things I said. And if you've learned one or two things, you can subscribe so that you can see more of my videos, right? Because learning is a continuous process. You don't just stop learning, you keep learning and learning. So see you next time. Take care and God bless you.